I'm ready. How's everybody doing on this beautiful morning? And, well, I know what day it is for you when you watch this, but I'm doing a little early before the Sunday. April 21st is the fourth Sunday of Easter. One of my favorite Sundays after Easter because it's Good Shepherd Sunday. I have a predilection for sheep. In fact, I had one time. Yeah, it was a good little, Elijah was the sheep's name. Boy, they were attached to me. But anyway, this is Good Shepherd Sunday, where our gospel is from John chapter 10, verse 11 through 18. Allow me to read that to you, please. Jesus said, I am the good shepherd. Good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. A hurried man who is not a shepherd and whose sheep are not his own sees a wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away. And the wolf catches and scatters them. This is because he works for pay and has no concern for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know mine, and mine knows me. Just as the Father knows me and I know the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. These also I must lead, and they will hear my voice. There be one flock, one shepherd. This is why the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me. I lay it down on my own. I have power to lay it down and power to take it up again. This command I have received from my Father. My dog's here, and he's chewing on the palm there, branch there. So I mentioned the Good Shepherd's a powerful illustration. In fact, it was the first, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it, not a nickname for Jesus, but the first symbolic figure that he had. You know, we have the Sacred Heart of Jesus, that image, divine mercy. But it was the Good Shepherd. In fact, they would, in caves and walls, you would see the shepherd, Jesus the shepherd. That was the first sort of recognition that he had as other than the Son of God. That's why this passage draws contrast between the good and the bad, the faithful and the unfaithful shepherd. I forget where it took place. Unfortunately, there's too many shootings. Remember that shooting where the cops actually ran away and they didn't go pursue the shooter? I forget where that was again. I'm sorry because there's so many. It was embarrassment. The cops, rather than to seek out the shooter, they took care of themselves. Because, I mean, those in police, firemen, and first responders, in a sense, they are shepherds. They are there to lay down, if necessary, to lay down their life for others. I know it's a great demand, great expectation, but that's what it entails. Anyway, so the shepherd, the good shepherd, one who was willing to give his life. The shepherd was absolutely responsible for the sheep. If anything happened to a sheep, he had to produce some kind of proof that it was not his fault. Amos is the prophet, speaks about the shepherd rescuing 2 legs or a piece of an ear out of a lion's mouth. The Lord lay it down. If it is torn by beast, let him bring in as evidence. That's from Exodus chapter 22. You understand that they didn't accept any excuses, that your responsibility was to care for the sheep. And so if anything happened to him, it had to be a real serious problem, not your lack of diligence. The idea is the shepherd must bring home proof that the sheep had died and they had been unable to prevent the death. David tells Saul how when he was keeping his father's sheep, remember David became king, he had the battle with the lion and the bear. Isaiah speaks of the crowd of shepherds being called out to deal with the lion. To the shepherd, it was the most natural thing to risk his life in defense of his flock. Wow. It's quite incredible. I mean, you think about it, huh? Quite incredible that they would lay down a life for sheep. We may like sheep, but how much many of us would actually give our life? But unfortunately, on the other hand, there was the unfaithful shepherd. The difference was this. A real shepherd was born to his task. He was sent out with a flock as soon as he was old enough to go. The sheep became his friends and his companions. It became second nature to think of them before he thought of himself. Basically, that's what the shepherd, it was a sort of, in some way, a lonely existence. Or let's say, a solitary existence. The shepherd and the sheep. You're with them all day, all night, watching them as they sleep. They're your companions. They are your family. They're your social circle. But the false shepherd came into the job not as a calling, but as means of making money. He was in it simply and solely for the pay he could get. And we call our church leaders shepherds, the pastor of a parish, a church. You're a shepherd. right? Primary shepherd is the bishop. He is the shepherd of his flock to care for us. And I often thought to myself in this, unfortunately, upside down world, what if someone did come threaten during church, my flock, my congregation? Would I be willing to step forward and to say, okay, hey, spare them, but you can take me. I like to think that I would. I think in some ways a little easier of my age. Most of my years are behind me. But I like to think that if necessary, because to protect the flock, that's my job, to stand there. I had a fellow went to seminary with, who was 1 year behind me, a fellow Larry Gilmore. He was in Liberia, Africa. Years ago, they was during the great civil war in the country, totally upheaval, fighting, killing, and, well, all those workers, volunteer workers from other countries, right, the Red Cross, the churches, they were told to get out of the country, to, save yourself, to leave, because we cannot protect you, and it's too risky, too dangerous. And most, they left. He refused to leave. He stayed, and God willing, thanks to God, he survived. But you heard little stories he tells. They had to flee, running, climbing roofs, hiding in the bushes, running, constantly hearing the gunfire. But he wouldn't come back to the States where it was safe and secure. He said, why? Because I'm their shepherd. What would it look like if now in their time of need, I abandoned them? I can't do that, he said. What example would that be? I love you up to this point, and he stayed. I think the man's a saint, by the way, not just for that, but he's a special person. So, we're back to Jesus' time. Wolves were a threat to a flock, naturally. Jesus said of his disciples that he was sending them out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Paul warned the elders of Ephesus that grievous wolves would come, not sparing the flock. If these wolves attacked, the hireling shepherd forgot everything but saving of his own life and ran away. No good. The man who works for the Lord thinks only for the money. People who take jobs, not just even those kind of jobs, but any sort of job, just for the money. You see how their attitude, how they work. It's always should be the customer first, all right? They're not a nuisance. They're not a bother. You're there for them. If you're in any kind of service industry, well, take Fisher-Tech right downtown here in Bellevue. You walk in, they treat you kindly, they treat respectfully, and they're polite. And if you have problems, like most of us do on our phones or computers, they're there to assist you, and they're doing it timely and I just say gracious manner, because it's not simply a job. It's what they're called to do, where God has placed them. And so I hope also that you too, wherever you may be, your role in life, may be retired, may not be working, but, you're a shepherd to one another. If you're married, you're a shepherd to each other. Shepherd to your children, shepherd to your grandchildren. Shepherd to those who are in need, shepherd to those who are poor, who need us. Then we must be shepherds and put ourselves out to sacrifice. So pray that Jesus, who is the image of the Good Shepherd, may he shepherd us in order that we may shepherd others. God bless you.